morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to the Safe Space for Men. I'm your host, Ron. Please remember to rate, like, review, download, and subscribe to the podcast. I truly appreciate it. I'm back from vacation. Last time we talked, I was headed out Puerto Rico. I went, I saw, it was an amazing time. I got to really spend time with some friends. I got to sleep. I got to relax. It's a really beautiful place. You know, I ate a lot of food. I gained 12 pounds. The culture is really good there. It's like a real family, homey atmosphere. The weather was intense. It was really hot there, but it was all worth it. And they have some really good women there. Just the energy is good. They're beautiful. I can't wait to go back. I like how they have this. I forgot what it's called. It's like this little setup. It's kind of like New Orleans, a little bit like Bourbon Street with the bars. It's like a bunch of bars in this one area. I don't remember the name of it. I can't remember. But if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. It's like fire shows and stuff going on there. There was this guy there with running around taking pictures with a snake and stuff. So yeah, it was really cool. It was decent to just be amongst my homies and just vacationing with lifelong friends and doing something other than just being in Philly or doing some local bullshit. I don't really like to take local trips. I want to get on a plane and go somewhere. I truly don't. I believe it's not a vacation if you don't get on a plane. I was feeling burnt out, so I really needed to just get away. I had been I don't know. I feel like I had just been. I'm always doing something. I'm always working or working out or working on something for myself, doing something in the house, doing stuff with the kids. And I just really needed. I needed that break. It was much needed. So I'm back. I'm kind of recharged. I'm not drinking any more Henny anytime soon. So please don't offer. I'm done with Henny. I had enough Henny in those 5 days to last me a lifetime. And I'm more of a Jack person or a tequila. I never really cared too much for Henny. But those dudes can really drink. It was really cool. A friend of mine, a buddy of mine that I grew up with, it was like his first trip out the country or, out of Philly because he spent some time away. He got arrested when we were kids. We were 17. And now he's been out about 3 years. So I'm 37, so you can kind of understand how long he was gone. But he got to go somewhere for the first time and be amongst his brothers and just, really take him out of his element. And it was really dope to see, honestly, being able to just I don't know, we're all big kids at heart, you know what I'm saying? So when you're in a space where you're able to just relax and really be yourself, it's just really cool to see. Look at my shirt, y'all. Mel came through for me again. Got my shirts in, so anytime you see me with any shirts like this with lettering, there looks like this. They're from her. She does all my shirts again. She's outstanding. She's amazing. Make sure y'all go buy some shirts from her. Whatever you want her to make, she can make it. Yeah, that's my dog. I was at a wedding earlier today. A good friend of mine, Tamia, she got married, her and Ethan. It was a really beautiful wedding. If you know me, I love weddings anyway. I love going. I love being a part of them. Weddings are fun. They're always fun. I've known her, good gosh, probably 15, 16 years, somewhere in that area. I met her when I was 19 or 20. So probably 16 years, because I'm 37 now. Yeah, I met her when she was 16, and now she's a mom and stuff. We always remained friends. We were always really tight. It's always love when we see each other. So it was really good to see, man. I'm happy she invited me. It was a really good time. Again, black love is beautiful, y'all. Love in general is beautiful, but black love is really beautiful, especially when it's young people who are doing the right things and living life right, and they have a family, have children together, and it was really nice to see. So, excuse me if my energy may be a little bit off, because again, I just came from a wedding, so I'm after this, I'm like literally going to bed. So today, I'm going to talk about absent fathers and deadbeat dads and dads that just aren't doing their jobs. We're going to talk a little bit about my dad. You know, I've been working on this episode for probably like 7 weeks, just because there was just a lot that went into it, a lot that I felt like I wanted to talk about, a lot of personal things I wanted to share, and literally 7 weeks ago is what kind of like triggered it. My uncle had called me and we had a conversation about my dad, and well, first when I called, returned his call. He had been called, blowing my phone up for like, I ain't gonna lie, like weeks. I'm a person that, like, if you call me and you don't normally call me, and I know you're calling for somebody else, I'm really not excited to answer the phone. I'm not going on my way to call you back. So when I finally called him back, he answers the phone like, it's about damn time. And I'm like, excuse me? Hello, how you doing? That's fucking rude. I've been calling you, da 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 da. All right, what's the problem? I'm trying to find out about your dad. And it was just like, well, you can call him because he has a phone. And long story short, he didn't really want anything, but he proceeded to try to tell me about how I needed to be a better son, and I needed to go see my dad, and I needed to do all these things because of course the guy has no idea what he's talking about. So I had to tell him about himself basically, and we'll probably get more into that. But basically the premise was just, you can't tell me to do something for somebody that didn't do it for me, and that's gonna be a theme here. Honestly, is just how like the things my dad didn't do triggered and caused other things. Also a trigger for this, not a trigger, a theme of this episode is gonna be strikes. We're gonna run through 3 strikes with my dad, and how we got to where we are now. So when the effect of fathers not being available leaves on children is huge. There's no one to teach a boy how to be a man, how to lead, how to respect a woman, how to take care of a household, how to even be mature. And it puts the boys at a clear disadvantage once they get out here in the world, because no one taught them how to be men. So you have literally right now 23, 24-year-old boys who are trying to find their way because their fathers either abandoned them or wasn't there for them, or they're in jail, whatever the hell's going on. With girls, it's even worse, because now they don't know what love looks like, or how a man is supposed to love on a woman, or how someone should love them and how someone should respect them, because that's normally where you learn it from. Showing you what real love is. It also adds a layer of responsibility on the mom. If the dad abandons the kids or just isn't available or whatever the hell's going on, now the mom is doing 2 jobs. Or if the grandma's raising the kids, that whoever's raising the children are doing 2 jobs instead of the one that they should be. Reasons this happens: sometimes it's the mom. The mom is bitter and she uses the kids as pawns. I've seen that firsthand as a parent, and I've seen that as the child with my mother, where when I was small, she would literally not allow me to go to piss my dad off, not allow me to get on the phone to piss my dad off. I've seen it. It's a reason. It can't be an excuse, though, in my opinion. Sometimes it's the father. Sometimes the father gets mad and he's petty, and the woman doesn't want to be with him no more. He's fuck you and them kids, and he dips and he leaves without a trace. This is generational shit. This stuff has been happening for generations, and it's curses that we have to break, because especially when I get into these numbers of the percentages of kids, specifically black kids, that are growing up, and how it doubled and tripled over time. It's insane. Other reasons the dads aren't around is because of drugs. They may have got hooked on drugs or start selling drugs, and then it led them to prison. So, obviously, once your father's in prison, I know dudes that are out here without fathers, and their dads they have life, and so like there's no coming back from that, and you just gotta find your way. But you're at a clear disadvantage. A lot of things I had to learn on my own. I shouldn't have, and we'll get into that. I myself, obviously, I grew up without my father in the home. I would say, like, he was available to an extent. It just wasn't consistent. Everything I remember about my dad is very minimal. Other than him teaching us how to fight, like he trained all of us. My dad is like a martial artist, like whatever. He has all these belts and shit. Initially, obviously, it was my mom being petty. They broke up, so she used the kids or whatever, especially the son. That's probably the best way to try to hurt a man is I'm gonna keep your son. I also though I just don't believe that being a dad was a priority for my dad. It wasn't important to him. He wasn't active at all. Like I don't remember him doing like anything, especially from like a financial side. But I would get phone calls. It would be very sporadic. Was nothing consistent. There was nothing consistent about him. Stuff I remember as a kid. I remember a time that my mom took us to see him. So we would always go and see my cousins and stuff. They lived like around the corner from my dad. Well, not around the corner. They lived on 22nd Street. He lived on 29th. And she took us to see him. Excuse me. He took us to see him, and we get there. It's like 7:30, 7:45. And my grandma comes downstairs, my dad's mom, and hey, she's happy to see us, whatever. And before I know it, my dad is coming down the steps, and he's like, "Oh, you're going to spend the night around the corner at your aunt's house." And I was just like, "What?" One, we don't have no clothes. We don't have no pajamas. We don't have no clothes for tomorrow. Like, it just, like, I was probably like 5 years old. So obviously it didn't sit right with me. I wanted to go home. But I was forced to go around there, me and my sister, spend the night. And now as an adult, it was basically so that he could sleep with my mom. Which is like some like really like low level shit looking back on it. But it happened or whatever, and played with my mom's feelings or whatever. And then after that, we didn't hear from him or see him for months. I mean, like months. I remember that very vividly. So strike one for my dad was, I was about 12 years old, and it was my birthday. It was coming. My birthday was on a Saturday. I think it was on a Saturday. So my dad calls me like that Monday before. He's like, "Hey, I'm coming to get you this weekend for your birthday. We're gonna hang out, take you out, da 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 da." And he was talking about Friday, come to get me Friday. I was like, "Okay, cool, but let me call my uncle because I was supposed to do something with my uncle this weekend for my birthday." You could hear it in my dad's voice. He's like, "Oh, okay." Like he was like bothered by it. But again, that was probably the first time my dad called to take me and do something with me for my birthday. So you really don't have any right to be upset that someone else is, taking me to do something. But nevertheless, I called my uncle and we rearranged it. He was like, "I'll do it at a different day or another weekend. Go ahead, be with your dad." Call my dad back. "Hey, Dad, it's cool. He said he'll move his stuff to another weekend, and when he got then, I can come with you Friday." "Oh, okay, cool." Friday comes, he calls, "Hey, Lil Ron, I'm gonna come get you tomorrow. Just be ready at this time." Okay, cool. Comes and gets me, picks me up. We end up going to the movie theater out on 69th Street. We watch X-Men or something like that. Takes me to McDonald's afterwards. We're eating food. Well, I'm eating food, and I was like, asking my, "Hey, Dad, why you not eating?" He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna eat later." So in my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, we must got other stuff that we're doing. Maybe we're getting dinner later. I don't know. What are we doing? After I'm done my McDonald's birthday dinner stuff or lunch, whatever the fuck it was, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to take you home." I'm like, "What, to your house?" He's like, "No, I'm taking you back to your mom's." It's like, hey, I thought I was hanging with you all weekend for my birthday. And he had the audacity to say to me, well, once you told me that you were supposed to be with your uncle, I made plans. And the way he said it was in like a snarky, like he was trying to hurt my feelings type of way, which he did. And it was just like, motherfucker, like, I called you back within an hour. One, I'm your son. I'm like 11 or 12 years old. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're treating me, all right, cool. So, I've never forgotten that. Like, at all. I remember, I'd never forget when it happened. I was like really upset. I came back home. I was like really mad. I was telling my grandma, but my folks used to always say my dad wasn't shit. I just, even till I was adult, I never really believed it. Never fully believed it until we get to strike three, and we'll get there. I can only remember my dad taking me shopping once, like literally once in my entire life. I had needed a coat. My mom called him, hey, he needs a coat. Da, da, da. So of course my dad comes and gets me and takes me to get a coat. He takes me somewhere in Cheltenham Mall. I think it was called like Value City or Value Plus. One, I think it might have been Value City. Whatever John sold the clothes. They had like a special buy one coat, get one coat free. Not only did they have a special, which was great, but my dad put a limit on what I could spend. Oh, you gotta find something for $40 or less. $40 or less. I gotta find a coat for $40 or less. All right, cool. I managed to find I found a Florida State coat or jacket. It was more of a jacket, like a half coat, whatever, pullover jacket, whatever the fuck it was. I got that, and he made me get like this members only coat or jacket that I never wore. I refused to wear it because you would, like, in like 7th grade, you would get clowned for wearing members only. Whatever, I was a kid, I didn't know any better, but I never wore it. It ended up going in the trash. Tags were still on it and everything. But again, my dad would only do the things that he wanted to do. And it was like, I had, like, in that scenario, like, I could have picked a different coat. No, he wanted me to get that coat. And it was just like, whatever. $40, that's all you're spending. But whatever. My dad never taught me how to shave. He never taught me how to tie a tie. I believe I talked about that in another episode. It's taken me to get one haircut in my entire life, and my hair only got cut that day because I was at his house, and he had a haircut appointment scheduled. I was like woofing. It wasn't even trying to grow braids, but I was woofing. He's like, I'm gonna take you to get a haircut, this, and that. So he takes me, and it was really cool. I was all excited. Get my haircut with my dad, you know. I think at that time I was like 9 years old. But that was the only time he ever took me to get a haircut, like, in my entire life. He would come and get us whenever my great grandma wanted to see us. She lived in Delaware. So of course he would come get us. We go down there for the weekend, and it's easy for him because he doesn't have to do any real work. We're going there. She's doing all the cooking. She's doing all the cleaning. You know what I mean? He's just there. So, one thing I can say about my great grandma, she never missed a holiday, a birthday. You know, she always sent something, like a card, even if it was an empty card. But she always acknowledged us and made sure that we felt her, which was really dope. Strike two. So strike two was I had to get a surgery in the 12th grade, and I had like a cyst on my hand right here. I still got the mark, and you know I had to get a surgery. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning. My grandma called him, hey, you gotta be here. This boy's getting a surgery. We gotta go be there at St. Chris. Da 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 da. So at some point during the surgery, my throat had like closed up. I had like a reaction to anesthesia or something they had gave me. And they had to like force a tube down my throat to like get oxygen to me, whatever the hell was going on. I don't remember the specifics. What I do remember is when I finally woke up, I'm asking like, hey, I asked the nurse like, hey, can you tell my dad I'm woke, tell him come in here? And she gave me this look like, I'm gonna go get your parents. I guess she knew my dad wasn't there. Mind you, he was there when I went under. So my grandma comes in, I'm like, hey, where's my dad? And she's like, oh, he went to work. And I'm like, he went to work, but like, y'all said something happened to me. And my grandma just had that same look on her face, like, that nigga ain't shit. And I just asked, like, well, did he go before or after they told him what happened? She was like, after, you know. He came out, told us what was going on. They got you together, and then he just left. And in my mind, I'm like, you didn't want to see your kid or check on your kid before you left to make sure that I was okay. All right, cool. Strike two. Um, he would get us every summer for family reunions, and then we'd have to go down there. And I hated attending these things because I didn't know none of these people. And then people are like walking up on you like, hey, how you doing? I remember you. Da, da, da. And I don't fucking remember nobody. It was a complete waste of my time. I really hated going. Even to this day, I don't go to. They invited me to the one this year. I wasn't going because I don't know anybody. Like, I really don't know anybody. The first real falling out I had with my dad, I was 17. This was right after my surgery. So one day he had called. This is probably like March, maybe April. He calls and he's like, we're talking. He hadn't, he would call like every 3 months or whatever at this point. And he's like, how's your grades? I'm like, I got like 2 A's, a B, a C, and like 2 D's. It was whatever it was. And he was like, oh, you need to bring those grades up. And I let him have it because I felt like you had no position or no right to tell me what I needed to do because you're not here, you're not available, you're not doing anything to help me. You're not asking, hey, is there something you don't understand? Do you something that you need help with? Is there something I can help you with? Are you struggling with something? You just went straight to, I need to, like, motherfucker, you don't have the right. And like, I cussed that. I told him to fuck off, and I hung the phone up. And then he like called back and he called my grandma's line. We used to have 2 lines in the house, telling her what happened, and she was just like, she was telling her what happened. I cussed him out. Who the hell he think he is to tell me about my grades? And she didn't really say nothing. She was just like, you shouldn't have cussed at him, but yeah, they understood like it was coming from a place of anger because I'm already frustrated with you, dude. Like, I'm remembering all these things you didn't do. And the shit that I do remember that you did was like horrible fucking shit. They left me at a hospital. You were petty on my birthday. You took advantage of my mom. Like, it's just, these things are very like clear in my memory. And you're talking to me like you're a real father and you're not. And yeah, I was just done. I always cut him some slack because my dad's father died when he was 6 or 7 in a car accident. So obviously he didn't understand or know how to be a father. But the effort is what would have resolved everything. If he was spending effort and he sucked, I could live with that because you were trying. Motherfucker didn't even try, And still, even all the way till I was an adult, like, I never really held it against him. Like we had that falling out when I was 17, and once I started having kids, we got back on same page, and we were cool for a while. And then eventually some other shit happened. We'll get to that. Another weird story. I remember my dad like made me eat lima beans. Again, not knowing your kids. So I was at his house. I forgot what he made. It was like macaroni and like some chicken, and he had lima beans. I was like, hey, Dad, I don't eat lima beans. Oh, you gonna eat them fucking lima beans? And I was like, what? Like, I don't eat lima beans. And he's, of course, threatened me, and I'm gonna whoop your ass, you don't eat lima beans. And I'm a little kid, so of course I ate the lima beans, but yeah, like, what if I was allergic? What if I ate them fucking lima beans and I swelled up? Then what? Yeah, because you don't even know your kid. You don't know, like, I don't do that with my kids. My kids don't like something, they don't eat something. All right, cool, what do you want to eat? Because I'm not gonna make you do something that you feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean? It's just, again, people not knowing how to be parents. More than 20 million children live at home without the physical presence of their father. That's from fathers.com, which is a really good website. There's a lot of information on there, stats and things, again, pertaining obviously to fathers. In some cases, you have fathers that are physically present, but they are not emotionally present, and they aren't available in that way to their children, which is also a detriment. It's estimated that 24.7 million children live absent their biological father. Students from grade 1 through 12, it's estimated 17.7 million are in homes without their biological dad. It's a lot of kids, man. And we break it down by race. 57.6% Black, 31.2% Hispanic, and 20.7% white are living without their biological father. Um, Obviously, you see Hispanics and are pretty high, and blacks are really out of more than half of black kids are living without their biological father, which is crazy. Um, the National Center for Fathering said that it identified um, fatherlessness as the most significant family and social problem facing America. You know, and it's crazy because if you really look at like the root of everything, you look at, especially so we can focus on Philly and how there's a lot of kids out here killing other people and killing kids, and most of those dudes don't have fathers. Most of those dudes don't have big brothers or uncles that are like stepping in and showing them the way, teaching them how to be a man, teaching them to use their hands. If you got a problem with somebody, fight. Yeah, okay, you can fight. It's cool. You don't gotta really shoot somebody. You don't gotta kill everybody. Divorce rates is at an all-time high, along with premarital births. I'm divorced. All my kids are born out of wedlock. I fit right into that stat. So over the last 30 years, I'm going to focus on the black community now. It spiked, like the percentage. So in the 60s, 19.9% were living without their biological dads. In the 70s, 29.5. In the 80s, 43.9. In the 90s, 51.2. 2000s, 51.1. In the 2010s, 48.5. So for the last 30 years, just about half, you could even say the last 40 years, it's been above 43% for the last 40 years. Black kids growing up without their biological dad in the house. Something you can blame for that, obviously, is the crack epidemic that started in the 80s. Dropped the crack off in the neighborhoods. Dr. Umar, he broke that down one time on the Breakfast Club about how like that was really like when like the black power base was attacked. I'll post a clip on the page, but going back to that, men were either arrested or they got hooked on a drug, in which either way it takes them out the home, one way or another, and then now it leaves just the mom to take care of the kid or kids. And what's crazy is the government, they incentivize the idea of moms being single and them being in the house without the dads through HUD housing, through food stamps, through cash assistance, medical assistance, all of these programs they have, but you only qualify for them if the dad is not in the house. Or they word it a little differently. If, you gotta meet the salary requirements or whatever. But once they find out there's a man in the house, they take all that stuff away. Which is fucking nuts if you think about it. Child support. So child support is also, it's a business. And I need people to understand that. It really is a business. So let's say you get from the government, you're getting like $200 or $400, whatever it is, like 402 from the government, from the state, to assist you with your children. There's somewhere on there you got to sign and say it's okay for them to go after the dad. What happens is they go after the dad. Now they're technically the dad owes $400 a month for however long you've been getting it. But if they run his finances and it says he can afford $1,000 in child support, they're taking $1,000, but they're only sending you the 402. The rest of the money goes to the state. Where? I don't know. What do they do with it? I don't know, but I would love to know, and I would love for someone to get to the bottom of that. But the money doesn't go to the person as long as you're on, assistance through the state. Now, if you cut it off, then they'll start sending it directly to you. But if you just want to keep getting cash from the state because you think, it's free money, it's not. Someone has to pay that money back, one way or another. Another stat I have, young men who grow up with their biological dad in the house are twice as likely to graduate from college by their late 20s. Young men who do not grow up with their biological father are twice as likely to spend time in jail by the time they are 30. So, again, you can see the importance of like men just being available to the kids and being in the house. And I mean, just a two-parent household, period. It's raising kids on your own is rough, especially I'm pretty sure it's extremely rough on a woman to be raising boys. And I don't want to say I'm just focusing on that, but it's really hard. I know people that do it. I know people that are raising boys and girls on their own, and women, and it's just I don't see how they do it. Like it's well, I know how they do it, but it's a lot, it's a lot. So currently with my dad, I haven't really talked to my dad in quite a while. It's what are we at? We at September, so I haven't talked to him since like July. My last phone call with my dad, he called me and was telling me I needed to do something. I don't like when anyone tells me I need to do something because I'm a grown man. He was telling me like I needed to leave work to come to where he was to his facility and take care of some paperwork, and it was just like, motherfucker, I'm not leaving anywhere. And the reason why I was coming with that energy was because, okay, so like 3 years ago, I was working out in Malvern, PA. My dad called, he texted me, I'm having a heart attack. I'm at Einstein. And it's just like, okay, I'm calling him and shit, he not answering. So I leave my job, I call ass to Einstein, I get there, and the nurse is like, oh, his blood pressure was just high. I'm like, he said he was having a heart attack. She's like, I don't know anything about that, but his blood pressure was just high. And I was pissed because I just drove an hour and a half to come to make sure you were cool. And I gotta drive back an hour and a half to go back to work. And I'm gonna have to drive back to get home. And when I got back to work that day, because I had just left, my boss was there waiting on me and I got fired. Granted, I didn't want that job anymore. I was so happy to be fired. But it was just like, dude, I got fired for leaving the job for you think I'm leaving the one I got now for you? No, it's not happening. I'm not dropping everything that I have to do for you. So after that conversation, he really hasn't contacted me. We don't really speak much. He is in a facility. I have him in a nursing home because he can't walk. He has a lot of medical issues and stuff he needs to deal with and fix. He's also turned into a very bitter person. What I mean by that is, so when we were on good terms, when I did used to go see him, we would talk a lot about like my other siblings not coming to visit him. He was really upset about that. But I mean, their reasons at the time were their reasons. And again, people have lives, but it seems like in his old age now, he basically wants us to do what he didn't do for us. Like, you didn't come see us, you didn't do none of that. And he's upset about it. He's just upset that no one comes to visit him. One thing he does do he did do that was pissing me off a lot. He would text me without even saying like good morning, hello. He would just text me like what he needed. He would send a text like, I need this, this, and that. And he'd be like, hello, how you doing? Good morning. I'm big on that. You better fucking greet me. I'm gonna ignore that shit. How you just go straight to asking for stuff. As far as the conversation with my uncle, so the conversation with my uncle took place probably about, it was 7 weeks ago. And it was just him telling me like what I needed to do, and I just went at him like, well, did you ever tell my dad that he needed to be a better dad and be involved with his kids and take care of his kids and be an active father? And my uncle, of course, got, very upset and beside himself and told me like, oh, that's not what this is about. And I was just like, if you don't understand that that's what this is about, then you don't understand that that's what this is about. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't sit here and say that his children need to be available and need to come visit him, but you never, as the big brother, told your brother he needed to go and see his children. These nuts. Like, I'm not, there's nothing you could really say to me about that. I was having a conversation with my brother recently, like after all that stuff happened, my brother Zori, and he was telling me about, so he's 10 years older than me, but he was telling me about how, he was like, there was a point where he didn't even know, like, me and my sister existed. So my mom has 2 kids by my dad, so he didn't know that me and my sister existed. He would and as he got older, once he found out we did, he would always wonder, like, why is he doing all this shit with me and taking me here and taking me there, but he's not doing it with his other kids? And it kind of just like sums up, my dad. You know what I'm saying? He pretty much did whatever the hell he wanted to do. Like, he could have, obviously, if he was doing certain things with my brother, he was capable of doing it with us. He just chose not to. And now as an adult, like, again, I see stuff very differently now because I'm a father, and the way I move is nothing like how he would move, at all. My dad got inducted into the African Martial Arts Hall of Fame. As I told y'all, my dad was really good, like really good. He had like every belt in his room. He used to have like 35, 40 trophies. He was like really the man back in the day when it came to martial arts. Like he trained all of us. Well, my big brother and my sister more than me, but yeah, he trained us all. But yeah, he got inducted, and then he didn't even tell me. He told my brother, and they went, which is cool. I'm not like mad that he took my brother, but it was just the fact that he didn't reach out. Hey, son. Again, it was just another one of those like, oh, okay, like you just being you. I remember one time, my probably like 9 or 10 years ago, my dad first started getting sick. He like was having issues with his diabetes, and he was like in the hospital. And I went there, and they said I think his sugar was low, and it was because he wasn't eating. And I was like, "What's going on? What did you eat this morning?" He's like, "Oh, I didn't really get a chance to make anything." And I was just like, "Huh?" So I like went to his house. I had to get him some underclothes for the hospital, but I'm like checked his fridge, and he didn't have shit in his fridge, but like bullshit. It was like soda, and that was it. But it wasn't no food in there. So I asked him like, "What's going on?" He told me he was going through some, financial difficulties. So for about 6 months, I was putting food in my dad's house without him asking. I would just, cause I had a key to his house, so I would just, when he was at work, I would just go food shopping, no more than $100, and I would drop off the food and put it in his fridge, and he would just come home to food. I did that until he was like back, or at least where I felt like he was back on his feet. And again, I did all this stuff without, like not asking for anything in return. I don't need anything in return. So.
1 sec. What? I don't eat or drink,
oh my God.
But I do like digesting
information. What is the computer doing? I'm sorry, y'all. That was my computer. Siri got a mind of her own. Possessed. For the last 3 years, I also was taking care of my dad as far as like handling his business. Because again, he's in a facility, making sure everything was done, everything's paid for, whatever he needed. I was sending food up there daily or every other day, Uber Eats on my dime, just, doing stuff because that's my dad and he needed it or whatever. Not looking for, I definitely, a thank you is cool, but I don't need anything in return. And I remember I was out at Cancun and I needed my sister to do it, and she was like, she ordered it. She ordered the food he wanted, and she was like, "You fucking ordering this shit every day for this motherfucker? Like $30 in food? This is ridiculous." Like she was going off. I'm like, yeah, that's every day, or every other day. I will say this: my kids actually love my dad. They really do. My small kids especially. Cause they're, it's like, that's Pop. So they be wanting to go see him. I haven't taken to see him in over a year. Just cause I hate going to that facility. But, I don't know. If we get to a better place, maybe I will take him, or maybe I'll just, but I don't know. Right now, I'm not eager to see my Pop. I'm not, there's some stuff that he has to apologize for. It also bugs me that he never remembers my birthday. He never remembers the kid's birthday, but I can give you a pass on that because there's 5 of them. So, but me, your son, your 37-year-old son, my birthday's on June 24th. This year he didn't text me at all because he was mad at me. But last year, this dude texted me like June 22nd. The year before that, texted me like June 27th. The year before that, texted me like June 19th. This year, so I can always tell if he's like monitoring my Facebook or he's looking on it. So I had like posted, "Happy birthday, Jordan." I guess by the time he saw it, it was like 2 days later. Jordan's birthday's on the 2nd. He texts me June 4th. "Oh, tell Gabby I say happy birthday." I just text back, "Gabby's birthday is on June 18th. And then like, I don't even think he responded. I think he just was salty. Like, you know what I mean? Again, the frustration was brewing. Like, it's just, like, I don't like that. Like, if you don't know, you just don't know. But like, you have to know my birthday. That shit is unacceptable. I'm your kid. And that leads me to strike 3. So strike 3, we had a falling out when this man accused me of stealing money from him. And all my life, my sister would always say, "Oh, Pop, he only care about his church people, his karate, his martial arts, and his money." And I never believed her until that day. And I remember I talked to my brother and my sister about it, you know, like showed them text messages and everything. And then, you know, with people, only certain, like they know the specifics of what I was doing for him, the specifics of what I was paying for him out of my pocket. And for him to accuse me of stealing money, it was like, I had to, like, the next day, I remember going up to see him, and I took like all his, anything of that was any of his money financials, I took it so that he could see, like, nobody's ever touched your money. This shit is still here. But like, you know, I don't need anything from you. I never needed anything from you. I'm 30 some odd years old, you know what I mean? And he apologized for it in the moment, like, oh no, I'm just lonely. I just wanted someone to come see me. And it's just like, bro, that's not how you do it. And from that point forward, I really, like, I kind of was just like, I'm not fucking with him no more, because you did it again. You did it again. It's the birthday. It's taking advantage of my mom. It's, you know, all of that shit, like, you did it. And that, like, this was the last time, and I'm just fucking done. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever speak again. I'm not in no rush to do so. I'm just not. Something else that pisses me off, I constantly run into people that tell me about all these wonderful things that my dad has done for them, how he's helped them. My cousin Pat, we were talking on the phone a while back, and he was telling me about, he's like, yeah, when I was a kid, and we fall on hard times, your dad would come and he would get us groceries, and he would bring my mom money, and he would just look after us. And again, that's my cousin. I'm glad, you know, that's great my dad did that. But my dad knew, like, coming up, like, and where I was living at, we were, sometimes the house was cold, sometimes we didn't have food, sometimes we didn't have clothes, like, we really grew up fucked up. So the fact that he never even bothered to lift a finger to help my mom, but you're out here helping all these other people that don't trump your kids, it's just, you know, again, it's just like, you just didn't want to do it. You had the ability to do it, and you chose not to. And when people tell me that about him, like, oh, he's, you know, he did this and he did that, I just respond with, like, I can't relate to knowing him in that way. I don't. Also, once my mom put him on child support, the communication fell way off. I think he went on child support in the 10th grade, so he was on child support for like 3 years. And like, once he had to start paying child support, he just stopped calling. He would call like once every 6 months, you know, and it was sad. Like what? Like, so because my mom at this point, I'm like 13 or 14. So for 14 years, you got off scot-free, and then my mom put you on child support and you mad about it. Like, come on, bro, you tripping. He also stopped having me over at his house. I used to, even though I really didn't go much, but like, it wasn't even on the table anymore. You know, senior year, I saw him 3 times during senior year. Once was for court because I got in some trouble, graduation, and my surgery. I'm lying, 4 times. The 4th time was when he came to the house after I cussed him out. So he came to, back to that story. So he came to the house after I cussed him out when he told me to get my grades up on the phone. And he comes in the house and he's like, I'm here to talk, and I want to know what's wrong. I don't understand. And I remember my sister, she came down the steps. She was home for college, and she just let him have it. Like, what do you mean you don't understand? You ain't never done shit for us. You're never available. You don't buy us anything. You know, like, well, from her, she was like, if I ask you for something, there's always an excuse. And for me, I just start going on about the surgery. I'm like, dude, I had a surgery, and like, I couldn't breathe, and you know what I mean? Like, you didn't even check to see if I was okay. You just went back to work. And then he went into like, well, I don't know how to be a dad. My dad wasn't here. My dad died when I was 6. All right, well, you're fucking 50 now. Figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, that's understandable. At a certain point, that can't be the excuse, because at a certain point, it becomes a choice to not try. It becomes a choice to not do, to not be available. Yeah, you got some trauma. You know, you should have went to therapy, but you chose to not go to therapy. You chose to not be there for your kids. So at that point, I really wasn't trying to hear it. I wasn't. I'll definitely say though, my dad is a good person. He actually is. He's a good person. He's just a bad father. I wish it was in reverse. I wish he was a bad person and a great father. but it's not. I also can't let my mom off the hook because, again, like I said, her pettiness was absolutely a part of it. She chose to have not one but two kids by someone that clearly was not equipped to be a dad. I also kind of blame people that was around at the time. My dad was pretty close with one of my uncles, and I just know me. I know we're in different eras, and I wasn't there, so I don't know exactly what happened. But I have a lot of friends, and a lot of guy friends that I'm close to. There are guy friends that I'm super close to that I wouldn't let them touch anybody in my family. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like someone should have put a stop to it. And when I say that, it's because my mother was actually born with a disability. So like someone should have definitely been like stepping in and trying to monitor it. And maybe they was. Maybe my mom was just too sneaky. I don't know, because I've heard a lot of stories about the both of them. Again, she would tell them we was busy when we weren't. You know, I also remember when my dad got married, because my dad eventually got married, she wouldn't let me go to the wedding. I think the wedding was on Christmas. She would not let me go. Like the answer was no, he's not going. And you know, my dad, he didn't fight for it. He didn't try to. He didn't put up much of a fight. Cause I mean, I'm pretty sure I don't know. Part of it, he could have been burnt out. But also, I just think the other part of it, he just didn't want to. With my dad, the effort, it was never there. There was no willingness to bond with his kids, to get to know them. At least the ones he has by my mom. He didn't really want to do shit unless it was connected to something that he wanted to do. Just like the movie. He chose the movie. I didn't choose to watch X-Men. He chose it. It was something else came out that weekend I wanted to see. But he chose X-Men. He wanted to see that. Which again, like looking back on it, it's like that was more about you than it was me. It really was for my birthday, but whatever. I will give him credit for teaching me how to fight. Again, my dad is martial art extraordinaire, dude, Hall of Fame. He has like every belt. Back in the day when he was younger, he was in much better shape, and he really could kick ass. Something that I discovered now that I handle all my dad's business is that he was financially better off than what he let on. And I don't mean like just recent, I mean like going way back. And that pissed me off because in the 90s, giving him around $50 every 2 weeks would have been enough because groceries were not what they are now. $50 in groceries, we could have got, that's probably enough food for 2 weeks in the 90s. And again, like I said, effort. He just never helped. He just didn't do anything. It wasn't important to him. Being a father wasn't a priority for him. And yeah, that's all I got on that. My message for the day is take care of the life you create. Be consistent. Message to my dad, thank you for showing me what not to be. I appreciate it. Also, something, just a little extra, it just popped in my head, because I see it a lot. I kind of saw it with my parents. When you have a kid with somebody, it's the man and the woman, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, that you guys are responsible for those children. Stop allowing your mom or your dad, which would be the grandmother, grandfather, your aunt, your sister, cousin, to be in your business, to be involved with it. And also stop running back and forth telling your business all the time to your parents, because your parents' natural intuition is to defend you. And a lot of times we have the ability, we naturally leave out all the shit that we did, and you go and you tell your mom or your dad what the other person did, and now they don't like your baby dad or your baby mom, and you're in an uncomfortable situation. So I just think all around everyone has to do a better job of just like co-parenting and myself included, because I'm not, my situation is different. My kids live with me, but yeah, I could do better as well. But I definitely will do that. I do all my communication is straight through me. But yeah, so stop allowing your moms and your relatives to be in your business, and yeah, it'll be a lot easier. Today I'm plugging my big brother Zuri. You can reach him at Zuri Cooks. That's at ZURICOOKS. That's my big brother. He's a father, a husband, a chef, follow his page. He like me, he had well, I have he has 4 kids, 3 daughters, 1 boy. He's the one with the boy. I don't have any boys, but girls definitely running our family. But yeah, follow him. He's a great chef. His food is delicious. Um, that's one thing I consider. Men in our family, we can really cook. But yeah, follow him, buy some food, and again, please remember to rate, review, like, subscribe, and download the podcast. I really appreciate it. We ran heavy today. We had 50 some odd minutes. So until next time, peace.
Hey y'all. First, thank y'all for tuning in to the Safe Space for Men this week. Just wanted to jump on, just touch base with everybody. Uh, I chose the episode I ran was actually a episode from early in the year before I was on the network. But I don't know. I feel like I wanted to share I guess that story. Um, just to give you like a piece of what like things that I've experienced or whatever. And I think I'm pretty sure there's a guy out there or a man that could relate to that that's had like a weird relationship with his dad. Probably worse off than what I was with mine. But I just felt like it was important to share. Throughout the summer actually coming up, I'm actually choosing a bunch of episodes to run throughout the summer because I got probably two. I'm probably gonna do me 2 or 3 more recordings, but after that, I'm gonna run a lot of episodes you guys may have not seen from early in the year. So I'll pick out like my favorite ones, and then it'll be new to y'all. Uh, it's funny though, because so this week I had a session with my therapist, and we was talking about this very thing, because she wanted to talk about my dad and stuff. And funny thing is, because the same thing I said at the end, like, oh, my dad's a good guy, he just didn't take care of his kids. She was like, your dad's not a good guy. Like him not taking care of his kids is way worse than it doesn't like the good that he does for people doesn't um like shadow or erase the bad, that he does with his kids. And I had to think about that because it wasn't until that literally that session I thought about like that. I really break it down to people like, yeah, my dad, he's actually a nice guy. He's a really good guy. He does all these great things. He's just not a good dad. And she's just like, she like, do you hear yourself? And I had to look at like yeah, that actually makes him not a good guy. You know what I mean? Or not a good. He's not doing what he's supposed to do. And you know, I should me being a dad, I should know that. Which is why I never accepted that excuse of oh, because my grandfather died when he was young. He was like 7 when my grandfather died. And I mean, while it is sad, but it's like, sir, while you were alive, I didn't have the best example of what a dad should be but I was able to, I mean, call me arrogant, but I was able to master it. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm a great dad, and that's without any type of example of what to be and what not to be. So, um, something else that stood out to me, I would say, like just my advice, I guess, talk to your kids because when I look back on it, he didn't really talk to us a lot. Everything was so like straight to the point. Like he was training us. That's what it was. There wasn't a lot of like, uh, I love you, or like, just checking in just to check in. Sometimes, like when I look back on when he did call, I look back, it kind of felt like he was obligated, or he would check in, he would make those phone calls once a month or once every 2 months when like his family was having something. And like if there was an event coming up, he'd call, check in, and try to talk to us, sweet talkers, and then be like, "Well, hey, guess this weekend your aunt or your uncle is having this, this barbecue or whatever, and I would like for you guys to come." And like that was kind of like the lead into the acts or the request. And well, at that age, it probably wasn't even a request; it was more of a demand. Like I'm coming to get y'all because you 6 and you're 10, and you really can't say no, unless your mom, steps up. So, if you're a deadbeat man, kill yourself. I think being a deadbeat or not being a non-active father, that should be a crime. You're missing out on so much, man. Uh, and somehow I know, like, again, look at that. Like, this whole entire like podcast experience has been like a year long of therapy for myself, because I'm sharing a bunch of stories of things I've been through and things that other people have been through, and I'm having like these conversations with everybody. It really has been like one long therapy session, which is while I think by the time I got to talk to my therapist about my dad, it was kind of like there wasn't no issues. It was kind of like because she was asking, do you ever envision yourself speaking to him again? And I was like, I'm very much at peace with I probably will never see him again. The next time I see him, unfortunately, it'll probably be at his service. And I don't mean that with any ignorance or nothing like that. I'm not wishing death on him. I hope he lives another 30 years. But it's just one of them things. I'm pretty sure there's people out there that can relate. Like once you're like kind of at peace with a situation, that's very much where I'm at in my life. Because people don't change, especially at that age. We're past you apologizing for what you did or didn't do. We're past you trying to make up. I'm 38 years old. That can't even happen right now. We're not even there. And again, it's another thing. My therapist told me I'm handling everything great. So like it's like again that like constant reinforcement because sometimes I second guess myself like should I give him another chance? She's like you gave him too many chances. She was like if I was you I wouldn't even be making sure his medical situation was cool. That's not your responsibility. You have kids, you have a family. Those are your obligations. Uh, but again, the only reason I do kind of step up is because I'm the only one of his kids that actually does it. What would be hence more to her point, like she was like, there's a reason why they don't do it. She's like, what do you think their reason is? They don't fuck with him because of what he didn't do for them. Um, so yeah, uh, I think that's all I got for y'all. Again, just tune in next week. I'm not sure what I'll have for you next week, but just all summer long, there's gonna be episodes running every Wednesday. I got a couple more live joints coming up, but just look out for everything y'all see is gonna be new to y'all. So just again, thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching. I appreciate y'all tuning in, taking time out y'all busy schedule, and hope everybody's doing their summer. Peace.